Hello gamers, this is John, host of Video Games in the World. We all love Pokemon. It has been iconic since 1996 with all these cute creatures with special powers. Of course, some people use Pokemon for racing, others use it for friendly battles. It spawned so many merchandises and even an anime series that lasted for over 20 long years, even if people are tired of Ash never winning a league, or they just gave it up. Of course, I enjoyed watching the anime, but I got tired of it after Johto Journeys, so I stuck to playing the games. I still remember how it was 151 Pokemon, then their numbers grew and we saw more badass legendary Pokemon such as Lugia, Ho-Oh, Lucario, and many more. However, despite the popularity of the series with kids, it has been the subject of controversy various times by some level of experience with the show or some who are fanatical with their beliefs. Let us now talk about the controversies of Pokemon and debunk them as well. The first Pokemon game was released in 1996 on the Game Boy, and since then it has become a worldwide phenomenon that spawned an anime, toys, trading card games, and tons of other merchandise as well. The game of Pokemon is about a young Pokemon trainer who journeys all over Kanto or Johto or any other region to catch all the Pokemon and become a master. He or she duels with gym leaders from different towns and earn badges in order to enter the Pokemon League and duel the Elite Four, and finally he or she can take on the rival. The more games there were, newer species of Pokemon appeared with the following types: normal, water, fire, grass, earth, ice, lightning, flying, ice, steel, insect, psychic, dragon, ghost, fairy, ground, fighting, and legendary. Despite its popularity, Pokemon has come under a lot of fire various times by the public, which led to censorship and changes, which led to the list of controversies. Very well-known controversies of Pokemon are the episodes Electric Soldier Porygon and Beauty and the Beach. Electric Soldier Porygon was a Pokemon episode that sent over 700 children to the hospital in Japan due to use of a flashing strobe effect upon its first and only airing. Because of that, this episode was never commercially released or rebroadcast anywhere in the world, and the show went on hiatus for 4 months. The frames which cause the seizures are a 4-second section in which Pikachu uses an electric attack on a group of vaccine missiles. The explosion, which occupies a significant portion of the frame, flashes brightly and alternates rapidly between red and blue. The seizures caused by this episode resulted in OLM dropping strobe effects from Pikachu's electric attacks. For years following the incident, a disclaimer was broadcast at the beginning of all Japanese television shows, including anime, cautioning viewers not to sit too close to the television screen and to watch only in a brightly lighted room. The episode Beauty and the Beach was banned outside of Japan due to an infamous scene where James, Kojiro in Japan, cross-dresses and wears inflatable breasts for a beauty contest. First time I saw this, I was like, whoa, they never showed this in America because of that scene. There were other banned episodes in the anime, such as episode 35 due to the use of handguns, and even the episode Holiday Hijinks was banned due to stereotypes and allegations of racism by activist Carole Weatherford. But the controversies were not just in the anime but also in the games as well, and these are the following. Now we know that the swastika was a charm of goodwill in the past that was used in various religions, Eastern religions of course, until the day that evil scumbag took it and turned it into a symbol of hatred, intolerance, and bigotry. The swastika was shown in the trading card game in Japan, which is Koga's Ninja Trick, which was meant to be a shuriken. However, in the USA, it was changed. Although here in America and in Germany, the symbol is seen as one of hatred, but in the East, some cultures and religions still use it as a good luck charm and a symbol of peace. As said in Season 1 about the swastika in the episode of Video Games and Religion, or the manji, in Sanskrit, it means well-being of the soul. In the anime, Team Rocket's salute resembles the Bellamy salute, but of course, 4Kids made it look like two arms were lifted instead. Why? Because Nazi Germany would use that salute and shout Heil Hitler or Sieg Heil, which means Hail to Victory. In the video games, the Pokemon Registeel had its arm lifted in the Japanese version, but in both European and US versions, the arms are down. However, that salute, in which for years was used by the Nazis, here's a factual statement about it. That salute is not called the Nazi salute, it's called the Bellamy salute, which was used by the armies of the Roman Empire. Of course, the Nazis appropriated that salute for their use, which means they stole it. The Pokemon Jynx was controversial and accused of racial stereotypes by Carole Boston Weatherford, an African-American activist and cultural critic. Weatherford is also known for accusing the character of Mr. Popo from the Dragon Ball series of racial stereotypes. In Pokemon, Jynx was criticized for its black skin, oversized facial features, and resemblance to the drag performers who were typical in minstrel shows. She chiefly compared Jynx to the racist characters of the story of Little Black Sambo, and further compared Jynx to Mr. Popo of the Dragon Ball franchise, a character who is also potentially offensive in his design. After these accusations, the franchise had faced several repercussions. In later games such as Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal, the skin color was changed, such as turning its skin purple, and all episodes featuring Jynx's original design were cut from the international airings of the anime, including a sequence depicting Jynx in its original design in All Things Bright and Beautifly. In the anime and games, the character of Lenora brought also concerns of racism. And speaking of racism,
isn't that a popular word these days?
Yep, pretty much. In the English dub, her clothing was changed, but in the Japanese version, she was seen wearing an apron and a handkerchief on her head, which alludes the mammy stereotype. Despite this, Lenora's in-game sprites were not altered in the international releases of Pokemon Black and White, or Pokemon Black 2 and White 2. Pokemon was also the target of animal rights activists and groups such as PETA, people eating tasty animals, excuse me, people for the ethical treatment of animals. Several of these activists have tried to ban the franchise, believing that Pokemon duels resemble cockfights, while the so-called detective of pop culture compared it to dogfighting. Yep, I'm talking about the guy who quoted about Osama bin Laden saying, "I'm not going to celebrate the killing of another human being regardless of how reprehensible they have been." And then he later quoted about Christopher Hitchens saying, "He was a despicable, vile, warmongering, hateful human being. Good riddance." Dude! You can't have it both ways. And one of the most hated people on the internet called him a sexist. How was he a sexist when he advocated the empowerment and independence of women? But enough of that real-life Team Rocket, back to Pokemon. So, the aspect of the PETA controversy was touched when Pokemon Black and White was released. Upon the release of Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, PETA released a mock game named Pokemon Black and Blue. In the game, the player controls a Pokemon to attack the opposing human. PETA claims that the way the Pokemon are stuffed into the Pokeball is similar to how circus elephants are chained inside railroad carts. Nintendo responded to this by simply stating, "Nintendo and the Pokemon Company take the inappropriate use of our products and intellectual property seriously." Around the release of Pokemon X and Y, they released another mock game called Pokemon Red, White, and Blue that features Nintendo's claimed association with McDonald's, and also makes fun of the frequent release of the sister games. PETA doesn't understand that Pokemon duels are not once to the death, but friendly duels. Pokemon aren't even real, and comparing them to cockfights and dogfights is just idiotic and ludicrous. We all know how PETA attack other video games aside from Pokemon, such as Super Mario Bros. For the Tanuki Suit, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas over the Doc Chop, and Warhammer 40k for fur. I mean, seriously, do people take this company seriously or something? I don't think so. Uri Geller is a worldwide known spoonbender, illusionist, and a self-proclaimed psychic. You can see a biopic of his on his own website. It's called Mindbender. Now, I know lots of you people watching this who know about Uri Geller will say that the magician James Randi exposed him as a fake and a fraud long ago. Uri Geller filed a lawsuit against the series due to a Pokemon called Kadabra. He said that it was an unauthorized parody of him. Besides, Kadabra's use of bend spoons to enhance its psychic powers, the katakana for its name, is visually similar to the transliteration of his own name into Japanese. Another claim that Kadabra's design is anti-Semitic in its nature due to the star on his forehead and the lightning bolts resembling the logo of the Waffen SS. He is quoted as saying, "Nintendo turned me into an evil, occult Pokemon character. Nintendo stole my identity by using my name and my signature image." What? The symbols themselves are taken from those used on center cards, which have been used to conduct research into psychic abilities. I mean, like, dude, I don't think that Satoshi Tajiri intended to make it that way. Besides, you're not the only magician in the world who can bend a spoon. Anyways, in the TV show Magician's Greatest Secrets Revealed, it has been shown how they bend a spoon. Maybe, Mr. Geller, you can learn a thing or two from them. As a result, there has not been a Kadabra card in the trading card game since Skyridge in 2003, and Kadabra has not appeared in the Pokemon anime since Fear Factor Phony, perhaps as a precaution against Geller's history of lawsuits. This is further hinted at by Masamitsu Hidaka's interview with Poke Beach in July 2008, where he claims that usage of Kadabra on a card is not allowed until an agreement was reached, and that the case would not be settled anytime soon. Sorry, Mr. Geller, but whining like a child over a Pokemon is not going to help you. Pokemon was also the target of various religious groups such as Islam. Muslims accused Pokemon of Jewish conspiracy, and it was banned in multiple Islamic countries such as Qatar and Egypt. Even the Jewish Anti-Defamation League accused it of anti-Semitism due to use of the manji or the swastika. Nintendo ceased manufacturing the card that had a swastika as Koga's ninja trick, and it was a decision that was positively received by the group, which also understood that the symbol was not intended to offend and acknowledged the sensitivity that Nintendo had shown by removing the product. However, the religious demographic that will constantly attack Pokemon would be Christianity. Does anyone remember this preacher attacking Pokemon? Well, here's a video of him.
Because it's important for the church to deal with issues as they come to the forefront in society. I said, "Son, what is that?" one morning. He said, that's Pokemon. Son, I found out that Pokemon means pocket monster. Pokemon, plural, are incredible creatures that share the world with humans. Each has his own fighting abilities. Some grow and evolve into even more powerful creatures. The children are developing relationships with all these Pokemon creatures, little reclusive, power-filled monsters. But why should they carry these monsters in their pocket? They say the Pokemon whole effort is to train children how to become the #1 Pokemon master in the world. You follow it through the New Age teaching, you find out that masters are those who take control of spirits. in the dark realm, and they tell those spirits what to do. The child at some point becomes capable of taking these powers and channeling them through their mind, through their arms, or through their power sources. Their power sources, of course, are many of the symbols that they pick up from the Pokemon paraphernalia. So Pokemon is a game that teaches children how to enter into the world of witchcraft, how to cast spells, how to use psychic phenomena, how to put to work supernatural powers against their enemies, how to fantasy role play. Pokemon World is a world of the demonic.
Whoa. He really wanted Pokemon banned, and his flock are just caving into what he says. Now, I'm not an atheist. I'm a non-denominational, and I gotta say that what he said doesn't make any sense at all. But Pokemon was attacked by Christians by the following. 1. Pokemon are like demons. They are captured and must be called upon to perform tasks. 2. Magical talismans, supposedly a reference to gym badges, are needed to control them. No. First of all, Pokemon are not like demons. I mean, do they have horns or bat-like wings? Dude! And gym badges are not talismans, they're badges. Sure, they give Pokemon abilities, according to the games, but when a trainer earns a badge, it means that they have succeeded in proving how their sync with their Pokemon to the trainer, and their strength as well, and their bond. Number 3. Pokemon evolution has often been criticized due to sharing the name with the scientific theory of evolution, which fundamentalist creationists usually reject, although the phenomenon in Pokemon is closer to metamorphosis. Whoa. No wonder why Thunderfoot's "Why People Laugh at Creationists" still continues. Huh. Number 4. Certain Pokemon evolutions require evolutionary stones, which are often seen as magical. 5. Many Pokemon have extraordinary paranormal powers, notably psychic types and ghost types. True, they have special powers, because they are born with those powers, and they represent these powers. Also, many Pokemon inherently involve East Asian spiritualism or mysticism due to the franchise originating in Japan. Some Christian groups denounce these as pagan rituals. Some claim that if one were to play the Pokemon on rap, the Poke rap backwards, "Gotta catch 'em all," can be heard as say, "I love you, Satan." What? Ugh. The Picard facepalm, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I gotta do right now. And finally, to them they say, Pokemon causes homosexuality. The close relationship between the characters Ash and Brock was a sign of the cartoon's gay agenda. What? Oh, really? You know, we all know that in many Christian groups do not support gay marriage or anything like that. Now, I did support marriage equality I started supporting it back in 2013 during a turning point with my views on LGBT people. Now, LGBT people, let me tell you one thing. As a fellow believer of God, LGBT people are God's children too. They don't have it easy. No one has it easy in this world. So, in response to these claims, the Vatican City-based Saturday 2000 broadcast public approval of Pokemon in April 2000, stating that the games did not have any harmful moral side effects and was based on ties of intense friendship. Huh. At least the Vatican was more understanding of the games than the anime, because Pokemon is not just about a journey to duel the best trainers and catch all the Pokemon. Pokemon is about a bond between the trainers and their Pokemon, as well as friendship and love. Ash and Misty at first didn't get along so good due to destroying her bite by accident to save his Pokemon. He and Brock were good friends. It's not like they were gonna go at it. Ash made great friends and companions in every anime series from the Cancel League to the current series. God almighty. I swear, some people take their religion so seriously that they get so out of character and become so fanatical about it. And like I said in one of the episodes, nothing good ever comes from fanatism. Nothing. Whether it's religion or a certain ideology. Understood? And finally, in conclusion, all I gotta say is that there are so many people who do not understand the series. What's really sad about not only Pokemon, but other forms of entertainment in general, is that instead of trying to see the positive, many people only focus on something to be offended by or the negative of it. Of course, the thing of accusing Pokemon of being satanic is so asinine that these Christian groups said the same thing about disco during the Kiss era and rock and roll as well. People need to learn to stop focusing only on what's negative and try to see the positive of things. So to those watching this episode, I urge you to not be like those people. And that's all, ladies and gentlemen. Comment, rate, subscribe, follow me on social media, and support me on Patreon, as this will help me since YouTube is not in a good position due to the apocalypse. So until next time, gamers, this is John, host of Video Games in the World. Play hard, gamers, and have a good one.